Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome back to my channel. I am doing part 2 on my comedy crisis upload. First of all, welcome to any new subscribers. I'm delighted to have you here. I do upload on Mondays and Thursdays for your convenience and my pleasure. I hope you stay for good, long, well, and share this with a friend. I am doing this second part because I am reminded that, well, actually, it was my favorite boss of all time. She had always said to me, if we address an issue and we don't have the exact answer, we should at least be able to offer some solutions of consideration. And that's 100%. And so I don't believe that I actually did that in my last post. And so here I am offering my tidbit. I'm not even in this industry, but just what I think in my purview would be of some use. Because for me, this entire royal comedy crisis between kings and queens of comedy, it's hurtful to the culture at this point. It's us attacking us. It's Lion King and against Lion King, Lion Queen against Lion Queen. It's no other race of people even involved. Now here we are in Black History Month, where to me we should be celebrating and valuing our contributions, whatever they are, not ripping each other apart. And in my last post, I did make knowledge that this industry needs to be circumvented. It needs to be reconciled. The whole entertainment industry, it has acceptable ways of bad behavior. It has acceptable ways of poor interactions. It has acceptable ways of ruining a person's career. It has acceptable ways of making a call in the dark that someone doesn't know, that their career won't come to light because you made a call in the dark. It has acceptable ways of anarchy within it. It's the custom of the industry to destroy a person that's not in line. Well, this is nonsense. This is ego. This is mania. This is narcissistic. This is narcissistic. And it's difficult to make a combative person a compatible person again because they've been warring all the time. And all they do is fight. So in order to, an option to, I would say, deal with the king or a queen who has silenced your words, who can't and won't even hear you because the positional power prevents that. And the ego restrains that. The only way to handle such a king or queen is to bring in the gods. That's the only way. Karma is a god. It's an action of a god. You have to bring in something to nearly destroy that out of the person. Now that sounds mean. That sounds mean. But even given, for example, as we can see with, and I don't do politics, but as we can see the controversial episodes within Donald Trump, you can't seem to stop that. It's out of control. The only way to stop that is to bring in the gods. Now, I'm saying that to say this, and these are my words. The best way to do that is to make the person come to themselves. That's the best way. But it's also the least effective way because they ain't going to come to themselves. You have to harness it out. So let's say, for example, when the Me Too movement came about, that shook a sector within Hollywood. It didn't change the entire commodity comedy commodity of Hollywood. It changes sector, meaning you ain't gonna just try to get me on the couch that easily no more. You gonna think twice. And it just changed that sector. Great that it did. This is changing a sector. It could be the contracts, because what Monique is so upset about is the contractual pieces. Well, that's where you have a contract lawyer. And also discussing how they engage with one another, and how an apology is owed to a person. You can't force an apology. God, I wish you could. Oh my God, I wish you could. I wish everybody who's deserving of apology, who didn't get the apology because the person just seems to withhold it just to have more power over you. I wish I could just turn that person that's withholding an apology that absolutely is due to you because they're being some kind of way. I wish I could just turn them into a pillar of salt so everyone can see them, but I can't. So in this case, when I say it's bringing down the culture, others are sitting back. You don't even see anyone outside the culture contributing to this. It's us destroying us, and it's bothersome to me. Here we are in Black history. Here we are trying to make progress. Here we are trying to be kings and queens. Here we are trying to present our artistic ability, and we are roaring like a lion towards each other. It's just unacceptable. You meant to treat that person that way, I always say. Now, is some of this true? Most of it probably is, but find a way within it to correct it, is what I'm saying. So I started this by saying, if you don't have an answer, at least offer a solution. Here's what so this is just me. I'm just a person. I'm just a person. With the desire of more kind-heartedness, I would say. I would say those are kings and queens of comedy. They are not the gods of it. So you bring in the gods to guard the culture. And you let the gods know the culture needs to be guarded. We've worked too hard to shine as great people before people to destroy it now. So who to me are the gods of comedy? I've broken it down in three different groups of 2 people each. The first I would say is, now you may not consider these a god in that sense, but I mean, they're not involved with this, but they can get to the kings and the queens by way of conversation and their own demonstrated ability. The first 2 are Eddie Griffin and Anthony Anderson. Now you probably wouldn't even think of them, because they are not who you would think would come up against a Katt WIlliams, or up against a Steve Harvey, or up against a vitriol Monique right now at this point. But they are accustomed to the industry. They have enough success in film and stand-up. They have enough pull to come into an entry zone. I would say they would be the door openers of the conversation. They may not change it, but they are the door openers to the conversation about protecting the culture and how this is looking outside of the culture to others. They have the voice to be heard for that. Certainly they do. So they can have a conversation. They can open the door to the conversation. They may not be the change agents, but they can certainly, through their own pedigree of work and their own understanding of what's really the dynamic behind this frustration amongst ourselves, have a strong contribution. And so once they open that door, they usher in the next 2, who to me are gods of comedy. And that is Eddie Murphy and Dave Chappelle. They're the meat of this situation. They're the meat. They are gods in it. They're not kings. They are gods of comedy. And they could have a talk and say, hey, look, this is what's happening to the culture. How can we fix ourselves within the royal comedy crisis that's ongoing, and others are looking at kind of sideways. Now, will they do it? Probably not. They probably don't want to be involved. They're going to sit back. Certainly Eddie Murphy. I don't see Eddie Murphy at all. He's going to sit back. Dave Chappelle may make Chappelle may have a little, they have something to say, but the two of them together can certainly be what I call highly effective in conversation, highly influential in conversation, extremely dynamic in the others hearing them. I think so. Now, so that's a second group. The third and the last group, I think, are, to me, what I would call a God of a lesser sort. Not that they are lesser than, but of the way they come about it in a lesser sort. And that is Chris Tucker and Nick Cannon. And let me tell you why. Chris Tucker has been close to a God in Michael Jackson. So he knows the language of a God. He's been close enough to it. He's walked alongside of it. He's danced with it. He's a comedian. He understands the industry. He understands the culture. He's been in enough of the same movies with those who are battling, so he understands the people. Nick Cannon, on the other side, is highly diversified in his career. And he was married to a queen, a god, a goddess, a tough as they come to deal with type person in that sense of who they are when he was married to Mariah Carey. And more importantly, Nick Cannon himself was once in trouble with, I would call the Jewish community, where he had to sit down and understand atonement. So he's, by experience, funny, understands the industry, has a radio station, understands what it's like out there, understands what it's like being married to a diva level. He gets it. But he's also had his own hit of having to sit down, be quiet, listen, apologize, atone, and get a real understanding. So that's why I think of everyone, Chris Tucker and Nick Cannon could be highly suitable and effective in saying, we need you to hear and take this for what it's worth and demand that before you leave this room, you make a change that would help the culture. Get the culture back in line, comedic wise. And that's what I mean. And so ultimately, bringing these three groups of two together, that to me is your full field. That's your defense line. Your Eddie Griffin, Anthony Anderson, Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy, Chris Tucker, and Nick Cannon. There's no way together. There's no way that you can get out of that room without changing yourself. Now, they happen to be all men. I could have named women, but I just named all men. Whoopi Goldberg would be a woman that I would name in this category. She's a god at comedy. So there's a woman if you need a woman. But Hannah Monique. Hannah Monique. But I'm saying that to say this. At this point, I know that there's been a lot of talk and there's been a lot of going back and forth and everyone splintering at it. It hurts my heart at this point. Yes, the truth was spoken. Yes, we're in an age of truth. Yes, I'm a person for truth. Yes, some things need to be handled. Yes, some things need to be changed. But there is a way that you do it that protects the culture better. This splits the culture. I don't want to see another upload, with all due respect, from Monique where she says, isn't that right, babies? Well, it's about the babies. And, we do this. Well, you know what? When you do that, you're also slithering the culture because you're forcing them to take a side. I recall that what Snoop Dogg said that about Tupac, he was always neutral. He was around thugs and gang members, but he was never one. He grew up in the Black Panther movement. He understood Blackness different. But it wasn't until he almost took a side that things became some kind of way. So you don't take a side. You don't take a side. You go, this is what's best for the culture. I'm saying. I'm just saying. It's at this point hurtful for me to see this. Combative, even going after Port Charlemagne the God, making him, because this is nonsense. So anyone involved in this lane of comedy, it would be useful to sit down at a table, leave your ego, sit down as people, sit back, sit down like the day when you didn't have a thing. And your ego was in real good check because you was probably living paycheck to paycheck. You didn't have a thing. And your humility was more present. And the grace of your conversation was there. And your heart was full of purity. And you were grateful just to be in the room. Now that you have been, some people use the word blessed, some people use the word fortunate, some people use the word lucky, whatever your word is. Now that you have some sense of comedy comeuppance, be better about your rise above. Remember, the culture of who we are as a Black people is always, unfortunately, under a microscope. And when we are ruining ourselves, no one's going to interfere because ultimately that's their goal. Well, nonsense. Don't let it happen. So please, let's move beyond this. Shannon Sharp, respectfully, need to curve the ball differently at this point. Respectfully, curve the ball differently. Change the way the ball is being thrown out on the field is what I'm saying. Stop this nonsense. It's cute because you got 10 million views and it's breaking the internet and look, everyone's on my channel. And all this is nonsense. At the price of ruining the culture, at the price of making us almost appear heathen towards each other, this is us destroying us. I don't like it. I don't. So please, I'm going to go reset my energy now. And I hope that somehow or another we get to a quicker resolution. We're in Black History Month, and we are creating Black history on a day-to-day basis. So make it better. Okay? All right. So hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Please share with a friend. And if you haven't clicked subscribe, you can do so now. And I love you. Bye.